Hello, everybody. Welcome. My name is Hasmik Samarkashan. Welcome to Managing Change in an SAP World. I'm going to cover for you some of the key capabilities that Google Cloud has to offer for SAP customers to help mitigate the vast change in these environments. And I'm also going to share with you some examples of customers who have deployed their SAP environments on Google Cloud and the results that they're seeing with these deployments. So, from the perspective of challenges for SAP customers, times change. There's different times, different year, but there's a lot of consistency in the challenges that these customers see. The primary one, of course, is business continuity for these mission critical environments. They got to stay up and running. They got to stay up and running to support the business. But in parallel, businesses are demanding more. Certainly, there's economic value that has to be driven. Agility, keeping up with the pace of change, keeping up with the needs of the business, and then innovation. Certainly, beyond just the tiny incremental pieces of innovation that's really going to drive improvements. So Google Cloud then for SAP customers has so much to offer. I'm going to hit the highlights here and then go into some more detail later in the presentation. So, starting with robust security and a robust network, that's the underpinning, the ground for any cloud deployment. Added to it with smart infrastructure, things like agility, the high availability, the disaster recovery, critical again for SAP environments. And then, the capabilities of a digital business platform, a true digital platform around analytics and machine learning and artificial intelligence. And then lastly, Google Cloud's commitment to your success. This is not an easy adventure, not an easy project to move a mission critical environment like SAP to the cloud. And we have a lot of things in place to help you mitigate risk and help you to get there. So jumping into the network and security, I just want to start by saying that, as a baseline, a Google Cloud is battle tested from the get-go for performance, for reliability, for security. It is already running the same environment, delivering applications at planet scale, applications that many that you probably use, like G Suite and Maps and YouTube and Search and Android and others, where the environment is delivering planet scale, robust, secure infrastructure already for these billions of users that are using these key Google applications every day. So our security schema or environment really is around defense at depth and at scale, and that means that every element of the architecture has security baked in, essentially. And we build security through progressive layers. We build everything ourselves. We buy very, very little hardware in the end. Servers, for example, we're the second or third largest server manufacturer in the world, and we're the only customer of our servers. Our data centers, we build them from the ground up. And boards, for example, they have custom chips on board that allow them to be constantly monitoring, looking for intrusions, looking for possible changes or problem areas. So every layer of the environment has security built in. Another key component of security is data encryption. And this is a unique Google Cloud feature in the sense that encryption is done by default for data and packets in transit and at rest. And there's nothing you need to do to take advantage of that. That's by default. So we don't see your data. We don't reuse drives. Like if a customer were to move on, we would destroy a physical hard drive. We would never reuse a physical hard drive. When it comes to the keys for your environment, you have complete control of the keys. You keep your own keys if you want to. You can hold your keys for you if you want us to do that. So you are in control of those critical security elements of your environment. From a network perspective, there's probably seen lots of pictures that look just like this one, with the globe and dots and lines and wires. But the difference with Google Cloud's network is a couple points. First of all, it's ours. We built it. We own it. all the blue lines, those undersea cables, they're ours. We own them. We own the ships and the submarines that maintain and manage those cables, that have put those cables under the ocean floor. So we have full control over the network. And that's pretty important, because when we send your data from one region to another, we do not traverse the public network. So this is both a security enhancement for you as well as a performance enhancement. It gives you the lowest latency possible for your SAP applications. And the network does matter. The network matters tremendously for securities. And on the top here, there's a typical schema going on, what we call like the hot potato syndrome, where basically one of your data packets gets tossed around essentially from one network to another on its way to its final destination. In Google Cloud, that never happens. Essentially, again, we send your data from one point to another, one region to another, without traversing the public networks. So big advantages for SAP customers, like take again HADR, for example, where you can host your high availability systems in different locations in a region and ensure synchronous updates that are sub-millisecond, extremely fast, low latency updates. For DR, for disaster recovery, we can provision DR sites that are milliseconds away. So we'll come back to HA and DR and talk more about that, as critical as it is for SAP customers. So moving on now to smart infrastructure. So augmenting the baseline of security, the baseline of the network with capabilities like agility and more HA and DR capabilities. So the base here for our Google Cloud SAP infrastructure is a virtualized environment. We made the decision like 3 years back or so, when we decided to host SAP environments, that we would be making an investment in virtual machines, in very large virtual machines for SAP systems. And that's two advantages that it offers customers. One is that you don't have to get it right in sizing. Even though you run the tools and the scenarios and you choose the size of your initial environment, it's hard to get it right, but you don't have to on Google Cloud, because once you get here, you can quickly adjust without penalty. And then go forward, you can resize without penalty, whether, changing times, changing things going on in the market and the environment, you can adjust and resize your environment with what the business demands. Or maybe on the weekends or at night, you want to turn stuff off, like your dev or test or production environments. That's available to you too, to save money in compute instances. So global provisioning in minutes, large VMs that are in production and customer environments, and more investment coming in this area in future. So a key capability that we are able to offer in the high availability space around planned downtime is live migration. And this is another thing that we're able to offer because of our VM-based environment. And essentially what this is it's live migration keeps virtual machine instances up and running through planned host system events, like a hypervisor update, like a patch, and a basic hardware patch. And this is big for SAP customers when some can't even afford to take a system down for an hour a month because that lost downtime is something they simply cannot afford. But the way it works essentially is you take your productive your productive environment and move it to another VM, keep running, certainly no reboots required, and update the original environment, patch it, update as needed, and then you roll back when the update is completed. So live migrating, live instances without reboots, performing infrastructure updates without disruption. And then, we too, Google Cloud, we take advantage of this capability to make sure that your environment is always up to date. We're not trading off downtime and updates. We're keeping it updated all the time, and we'll never send you an email saying the environment's going to go down on Sunday afternoon. You need to be prepared, because we don't take down our environment, and you don't need to either for doing these types of maintenance updates. All right, so moving on, more around availability, HA and DR. So this is so important for SAP customers to get right. Again, you architect it rarely, but when you have to use it, it really needs to be right. Most of the environments look like on the left of this page, where your HA environment is spread over multiple VPCs, virtual private clouds. And that's not great even in good times. It introduces, additional points of entry from a security risk standpoint. But then even concerning more is if you have a failure and you have to actually, fail over to a secondary system. It could take a lot of time because you got to inform the downstream systems that IP addresses have changed, et cetera. So all your upstream, downstream systems have to be made aware, and this could take hours in some cases. In the Google Cloud setup on the right, it's completely different. Your HA can be configured within the same VPC, so that, let's say, in the event of a failed system, you fail over to a secondary, which was already up and running to begin with. You fail over to your secondary, and basically it's synchronously updated, and you're back up and running. You're failed over within seconds, without impacting upstream, downstream applications. There's none of that IP remapping that has to take place. You don't have to send resets. There's no DNS table updates. It's business continuity. It's business continuity maintained for a mission critical environment. So I want to share with you all here, not just me talking, but from one of our customers, Cardinal Health, one of the largest pharmaceutical distributors in the United States. And they've been running live SAP HANA on Google Cloud for about 9 months or so. And I'd like you to take a listen to their experiences running SAP on Google Cloud.
Cardinal Health is a global healthcare service provider. We are a company with over $140 billion of revenue.
We have about 50,000 employees. Our mission is to be essential to healthcare.
So our customers are relying on us to make sure that we're protecting the environment and making sure that we have a stable platform that they can trust and rely on. It's critical to life or death for some folks, and it's extremely important to us.
We rely almost 100% on our ERP based on SAP. And all of our transactions that we execute right now on the medical side goes through SAP.
We are actually about 300 servers here at Cardinal Health on-premise in our data center. So very large system, very large scale. Very difficult to flex as we continue to have different business needs and requirements.
We had an effort internally to migrate our workloads out of our data center. We were looking for who was the best provider to work with us on SAP. And I think we partnered really nicely with Google Cloud.
From the very beginning when we met with Google Cloud, you could tell there was a partnership in helping us through this journey. The opportunities that it presents to Cardinal Health, the ability to respond to the business in a way that we've never been able to respond to before is extremely, extremely valuable to us and a game changer, quite honestly. We are a very large volume business. So if you think of a Black Friday, we have that every day at Cardinal Health. And Google Cloud has given us the ability to be able to respond to that and scale.
To shut down servers when we want, to stand them up is within hours.
Our high availability and disaster recovery capabilities are extremely enhanced.
From a cost savings perspective, we were able to save over 25% quarter over quarter, and we're trending right now to be even save even more so in the next quarter.
We continue to partner with Google Cloud on how we can take this journey to the next level, right? What's next? It's machine learning, artificial intelligence, and how we can deliver better for our customers and clients.
Cardinal Health and Google Cloud are solving for a better healthcare experience for our customers and our patients.
All right, so moving on to the digital business platform, analytics capabilities, machine learning, some of these real game-changing type of technologies for your SAP environment. They're easier than you think, actually, to get on board with and deploy. So how does Google Cloud really innovate for SAP customers? A number of areas that I want to cover for you. First, on the left here is actually containerization with Kubernetes, something so important for customers, for SAP customers, where, like it or not, for the foreseeable future, this is multi-cloud and hybrid cloud. And even if you're able to move your primary SAP environment to the cloud, you still have to deal with upstream, downstream applications. Some will be still on-prem for a while, some will be hybrid, some will be in other clouds. So how do you take all of these applications and elegantly containerize them and move ahead without fear of the hybrid nature, the multi-cloud nature of the world we're in? And the answer for that is Kubernetes. For containerization, and then Google Cloud Anthos to help you to build, deploy, and manage applications in this multi-cloud, hybrid cloud world. There's also Apogee, which is really for SAP customers takes care of a really key concern in the area of innovation, where so many customers are concerned about integration testing. This is like becomes the worry when they want to explore new areas of innovation. When they go to test and do integration tests, they're worried they're going to break something. They're going to break a downstream or upstream application environment. And with Apogee, you don't have to worry about that, because essentially it provides a way to extract the API layer so that you're protected. Your downstream applications are protected from this kind of testing. So infrastructure as a service we've already covered. I'm going to move along and talk more about analytics and machine learning. So in the analytics space, smart analytics, critical to be using your business data in an informed, in a smart way. There's a bunch of certainly SAP operational data, of course, but most of the data, right, is in enterprise data stores, and they're disparate, right? Hard to make good use out of disparate data stores. So this is where BigQuery comes in, where you can pull in your HANA data or your SAP data, you can pull in your enterprise data, and then even in some cases, external data sources, put them into this petabyte scale data warehouse, BigQuery, and leverage our integration that we have, SAP and HANA and Google Cloud BigQuery integration, and really maximize the decision-making power that you can pull out of this set of combined data sources. Then there's also amazing power with machine learning capabilities, and so many really exciting use cases in the SAP space around machine learning, like automating business processes, so many to automate there, use cases around better understanding your customer sales and marketing use cases, or certainly supply chain automation as well. And Google Cloud offers the ability to combine our very powerful AI ML tool set along with also some key data signals that come from Google applications themselves, like adding to your operational data, adding examples like inventory positions, or maybe ads data information, or maybe competitive pricing information, all added together and fed into machine learning models for very powerful insights. There's one example I want to share with you here, which is a customer we have, AES, who is a energy company actually, and their use case for Google Cloud machine learning is actually they're leveraging our AI-powered visual inspection capability. So specifically using AutoML for predicting cracks in windmill turbines. The way it works is they've got a set of drones that fly around these windmill turbines, all day long during daylight hours, and take photographs of the turbines and send those photographs in the thousands back. And those photographs, if they had to be analyzed by hand or by humans, it would take forever, right? To be studying them all and looking for inconsistencies or cracks or issues. But what they've done instead is they've leveraged Google Cloud's AutoML vision capability, trained a model to very highly accurately detect cracks and issues with the turbines, and they've saved 57,000 hours of manual time, $10 million in cost savings by automating this capability with Google Cloud's visual inspection capability. So, back to Cardinal Health, I wanted to show a second example, the same team at Cardinal Health, and how they have taken their basic SAP on Google Cloud environment and taken it one step further with their first ever machine learning implementation. It's a straightforward implementation, but also a pretty powerful one, showing how it can really save a lot of man hours and a lot of money for an organization.
Cardinal Health has about 50,000 employees across 46 countries. Our mission is to be essential to healthcare. We provide products and services so that the healthcare providers can focus on their patients. The industry has evolved over the last 5 to 10 years. The world is basically moving to personalization, machine learning, and artificial intelligence. And we really just had a great connection culturally, work ethic, and also some co-innovation with Google Cloud.
Cardinal Health's first machine learning project went live in Google Cloud. Every day we have 2,500 emails coming in from the customer through our SAP CRM system with different messages, different intentions. So we have to send it to the human routers, a group of 40 people who are sorting and categorize the email before we send it to the agents to perform the tasks. That is a very labor-intensive process. We leverage Google Cloud native services and created ML model that automatically sorted our emails. We use the human categorized emails, so we learned how the categorization can be done in machine learning, and then we deployed our model into Google Cloud. The people that we freed up through the machine learning, they move on to do the actual work rather than sorting the emails. We are very happy about this project because it's a milestone for us. We proved that it's achievable and it's really improved customer service. Our AI platform of choice is Google Cloud.
All right, so the last piece here is really about Google Cloud being committed to your success as an SAP customer. And it's not lost on us the challenge, the concern about moving your moving SAP, which in many cases the business runs on SAP, moving it to the cloud. So we have a number of things that I want to share with you here that we have to mitigate the concerns here and to support you with this critical transition. So back about November of 2019, Google Cloud introduced what we call the Cloud Acceleration Program. It's the first of this type of program in the industry. And it's a combination of, with our partners, and you can see there on the right of the slide, a number of our foundational partners for the Cloud Acceleration Program. So it's Google Cloud with our partners offering a bunch of really critical capabilities for you as you move to the cloud, move SAP to Google Cloud. And some examples are migration assessments, migration incentives, such as Google Cloud covering cloud migration costs for most lift and shift scenarios, based on a 3-year infrastructure commit. We also will cover you such that there'll be no double infrastructure costs to cut over. So you got your productive environment on-prem, possibly, still running, you're still paying for it, you're still funding, but now you've got your pre-productive environment on the cloud while you're working toward cutover. We have a scenario with the Cloud Acceleration Program that we will eliminate those double costs for you, so you can get to the cloud without that duplicative cost scenario. Also, piloting analytics use cases, piloting machine learning use cases. They're not as hard as you might think they are, actually, and with some of our fantastic tech partners here listed here, we can help you pilot and play around with, get your feet wet in some of these critical business innovation areas. And then also, Google support, safeguarding your entire environment. At the end of the day, it's the most important thing that SAP stays running and supporting the business. And we have enterprise support capabilities that complement SAP's support capabilities to make sure that you are continuously running. So as I close here, I just thought I would just share, flash a subset of our Google Cloud SAP customers that are trusting their critical SAP environment to Google Cloud. I encourage you to, let us know how we can help you. Let us know how we can help you get started on this journey. Check out the resources. There are tons of resources on our SAP solutions page. And thank you so much for your time. Thanks for joining today.